just think of what the threat matrix is likely for our aviation industry, our domestic airlines, international travel, et cetera, and how few air marshals we have at the federal level to provide security. And they're focused on a political hit on Tulsi Gabbard. So the lawfare has many elements, and it's harassment, it's retaliation. It doesn't mean you get convicted. It means you get harassed sometimes. It doesn't mean you get prosecuted. It means you get harassed. Elon Musk is facing that. I'm wondering which federal agency isn't investigating Elon Musk as a result of him promoting free speech on Twitter, and even worse, supporting President Trump. And we've seen another example of this in the case of Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Tulsi Gabbard is a former Democrat who has been a critic of the Democratic Party, recently became a Republican, and she's kind of an iconoclast in terms of being skeptical of the military-industrial complex and our intelligence agencies. I don't agree with all of her analyses, but I like the idea that she's out there asking the right questions and is skeptical of the right people. So she's going to be an interesting pick, indeed, as you may know, because Trump picked her to run the Office of National Intelligence, which is really a do-nothing agency. If I were Tulsi, I'd shut it down as director, but I'd shut down most of the federal government. So the left doesn't like her, and some conservatives don't like her because of the issues I've raised. But we can all agree she is no terrorist. And she should not be spied upon and harassed on airline flights, which is what the Biden administration did to her, and which is why we're suing, because we want records on that decision to place her on a terrorist watch list and have federal air marshals harass her and follow her around when she's traveling on planes. I just can't believe. She's a veteran, former member of Congress, and they're treating her like a terrorist. We announced today, literally today, we filed a lawsuit on December 9th against the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the federal air marshals and Transportation Security Administration, for records on former Representative Tulsi Gabbard being targeted for surveillance under the Transportation Security Administration's Quiet Skies Terrorist Watch Program. The TSA is a component of the Department of Homeland Security, and so we filed the request on December 9th, the lawsuit, and we wanted to expedite it, and we're expediting it under the court responded to our request for expedition, told us to do certain things. And we're going to comply with the order. So we want to rush this because it's important that we get this information, given the fact she's up for nomination, and we want to expose what went on and hopefully hold those responsible accountable. So that's why we're seeking to expedite the lawsuit. On August 4th, 2024, it was reported that several federal air marshal whistleblowers have come forward with information showing that U.S. Representative and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard is currently enrolled in the Quiet Skies program. On August 23rd, a congressional committee wrote to the TSA confirming that she was added to the Quiet Skies program on July 23rd, 2024, one day after she criticized the administration in an interview. According to the DHS website, Quiet Skies is a tool that allows the Federal Air Marshal Service to more efficiently deploy law enforcement resources to focus on travelers who may present an elevated risk to aviation security. In what universe does Tulsi Gabbard represent an elevated risk to aviation security? Do I believe there's any legitimate intelligence that would warrant placing her on such a list? I do not believe it for 1 second. Even if they presented it, I would say it's made up. How about that? That's how corrupted do I think what happened to her is. But I want the information so everyone can judge whether it's legit. Because they smeared her, in effect, by putting her on this list. Obviously, it was going to get out. And she talked about it a little bit, I guess, on Twitter or on X not that long ago. Let's play a clip from her statement on it.
My own government has placed me on a secret terror watch list, targeting me as a potential domestic terror threat. On August 4th, Federal Air Marshal whistleblowers came forward with very disturbing information. They revealed that I had been added to a secret terror watch list run by the TSA called Quiet Skies on July 23rd. This is the very same day my husband and I began to be subjected to those in-depth TSA searches. These are images of the TSA targeting package that the air marshals were given as part of their mission brief. I later learned that at least 3 air marshals were assigned to watch me every time I traveled, in the airport and on the flight. TSA deployed explosive K-9 detection teams and a TSA explosive specialist. Now, this is extreme by any measure. What were they looking for? What kind of threat did they think I posed? What were they afraid that I was going to do?
I can't believe they did that. I just think of what the threat matrix is likely for our aviation industry, our domestic airlines, international travel, et cetera, and how few air marshals we have at the federal level to provide security. And they're focused on a political hit on Tulsi Gabbard. This is what it was, assigning them as a political operation. Or so I allege, right? And how do I know there's something there? Well, because they've ignored our request. We asked for the records. When did we ask for the records? Click on the lawsuit. Let's bring it up. I want to see what we asked for. So we asked for the records on August 5th, 2024. And I believe they gave us a number, right? And then they asked for 10 extra days, which they can, citing unusual circumstances. And it's been crickets since then. The Biden administration's decision to place Tulsi Gabbard on a terrorist watch list is abusive on its face. Given her pending nomination to Director of National Intelligence by President Trump, the issue should quickly be cleared up and those responsible be held accountable. So we're moving this case speedily along as much as we're able under law to get these records and figure out what they were doing and why they dared place an American citizen on a terrorist watch list who was a former member of Congress, active presidential candidate, active public speaker, a likely, her being part of the Trump administration has been talked about since Trump's been running. And she criticizes Biden, and the next day she gets put on this terrorist watch list. Who are they fooling? And the fact they're not giving us documents or not responding at all suggests they have something to hide. So once again, Judicial Watch is doing the heavy lifting to expose outrageous government corruption and retaliation by the deep state. I mean, this Biden administration punishes all its enemies wherever it can. I think the record demonstrates that through abuses of power. We've never seen anything like it. We really haven't. I mean, the president isn't running the agencies. It's clear. It's like, do whatever you want, get away with whatever you want. As long as it's political, as long as it's abusive, it seems those are the standards for agency action on matters of national security and law enforcement. And of course, Judicial Watch already has exposed how the federal air marshals were deployed to the border to make sandwiches for aliens crossing the border at the invitation of Biden, the Biden invaders, rather than doing their jobs. And then now we find out they're being tasked with basically tailing Tulsi Gabbard. But what jobs aren't they doing in terms of protecting the American people? That's what's scary about it. So we hope to find out how this happened to Tulsi Gabbard through our litigation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.